was spoken. I said, he said that I was getting carried away, and I was, oh, if we get to 50k, we'll do a swim. If we get to 80k, we'll do a cycle. If we get to 100k, we'll do a 100k triathlon. And he's like, yeah. And then all of a sudden, that he fell over online, mate. And the next day, you wake up. We were at like $3,000 for about a month. And like someone was like, how are you feeling about your hair? I was like, my hair is staying, mate. Ain't going nowhere. He fell over. Fucking BBC put it online. Next morning, I woke up. And he goes, oh, Ben, just to let you know, you've got over 10 grand. I was like, yeah. So I said originally I wanted 20k for the mullet. He's like, do you want to go for 20k, mate? And give you a couple more days. I was like, nah, mate, I'm a man of my word. I do 10k. He went, good, because he's at 33,000 anyway.
Mate, that's unreal, that, isn't it? Wow. The power of telly, isn't it?
Yeah, 70k. I think we're over 70k at the moment. It's on Mark is anyway. Not
that's hoofing. Where's it going? Where's the money going?
All to Reorg.
Hoofing.
So they've got their own charity now. So basically helping veterans basically sort of helping veterans with mental health issues, not just military veterans, but 999, all the emergency services, get counselling, and then using jiu-jitsu as a form of like rehabilitation. So my gym's going to become an academy. So for instance, if you've got some, I don't know, let's just say an ex-bootleg in Plymouth that's hanging out, and reached out to Reorg, they pay for his first 3 or 4 months membership at the gym. That price is worked out between me and the charity anyway. He does 3 or 4 months of jiu-jitsu, gets into it, hopefully he finds some friends and builds some relationships and gets him back on the backup on the app. And at the end of the 3 or 4 months that they paid for it, kind of goes, right, if you want to stay here, you got to get a membership. So kind of like that, really.
Mate, that's the whole thing about, I say the whole thing. It's like 90% the problem I've seen outside of the core with chatting to lads, not just from like obviously the core, but everywhere, is the purpose and the belonging. And the moment that's gone, you feel fucked. Like you're in no man's land. That's where it is, isn't it? You know, you're in no man's land. You're neither in a good place or a bad place. And I think that's such a positive, like, it could never be negative anyway, but it's such a positive way of looking at it. Like 3 months to get yourself on the maps. Like I've done jiu-jitsu, I'm shit at it. I get tied up like a bag of bastards, but like I know being there has a purpose and a sense of value. And like actually, I think my second role was in the core champs, and I absolutely got choked out by one of my nods, which was hideous. Like it was horrendous. But actually, jiu-jitsu is such an amazing place to be on the mats and feel like you're part of something. And I think that's what the lads need and the lasses need when they leave, is you giving them that 3 months is amazing, because that's what it takes. It's not 1 month, it's not 3 weeks, it's 3 months to create that new habit and that new belonging. I think that's hoofing. Absolutely hoofing. Cheers for that, mate. That's fucking wise. That is wise. But I digress.
Yeah, no, I thought I know we've gone live, so I thought we'd hand back to Matt so he can do his introductions.
No, I don't think we need to do any introductions, really, lads. I know Gaz has got a few questions tonight that have been rolling in. I've had a few as well. So yeah, we'll just kind of take it from there. Ben, I see you've been in the ice bath a bit. Is that you now fully Wim Hof'd up, is it?
Yeah, Wim Hof, soaked in Wim Hof. Yeah, it's hoofing. Love it.
I've started it a little bit, a couple of cold showers. Soon fell by the wayside, though. I think you've got to be quite not nice, is it?
You're an ML. You got a get out of jail free card there because you've done all the ML tricks in the bag.
Hey lads, I'm a former PTI. We had cold showers so mirrors don't steam up. I've been doing this for years.
Are you a PTI? Yeah?
No.
I don't know. I don't think I can buy into these ice baths and that yet. What are the benefits of them?
Nothing.
Good hairline. Good hairline with it. Good beard. It's try it. I'm not gonna try and sell you it because I don't know really what's going on myself yet.
It's very invigorating. It makes you feel alive. I think that's the sort of
it's a massive release of endorphins.
It's a hard experience, especially to do a lot of open water swimming. Obviously, at the moment, it's particularly cold. And I got a free boy swim group that we sell some clothing and stuff like that. And we're trying to find like a motto or something, how best to describe how you feel after you've swam. But it's almost impossible to describe that feeling. And the only way I can say it is just a massive dump of endorphins and you just feel amazing. You know, I don't know, if it's going to make me live longer. I don't know if it's going to cure dementia like the news says it's going to. I don't know. I just really enjoy getting wet and cold.
Oh, is it? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Mate,
There's
I've got a
loads,
question for
good
you, Ben.
skin, good circulation, all of it.
Ben, PTI Ben, I've got a question for you, mate, from Andrew McKinnon.
Yeah.
It says, what was your favourite thing about being a PTI in the Royal Marines?
My favourite thing about being a PTI, and this is the easiest way to explain it, it's like a giant boys club. I remember rocking up for a 4-mile speed march, and there was a couple of other PTIs up on the top field, and one of them had a push bike, and he went, "I can do a bigger wheelie than you," and the other was like, "Obviously you can't." I took a 4-mile speed march. I came back, and the lads were still having a wheelie off to try and beat each other, having cones marked out in the car park. And I think, and obviously when it comes to the work, you're very professional, but there's also that real element of competitiveness, and I used to thrive off that and love it. Like, that was my favorite thing. It's just that it was fun and professional at the same time.
I think that being a bootneck is we're all very much part of that club, aren't we? And that, that, like you say, Ben, that boys club and the whole Peter Pan thing. But then I think within that as well, there are another set of sort of smaller niches where you were even more of a privileged sort of club, if you like.
Yeah.
And I think PTIs is definitely one of those, because it's one of those positions where you're constantly out front, you're constantly being watched, constantly being assessed on what you're doing and things like that. So you've really got to be on your game, haven't you?
Yeah, well, you've got to remember when you're on that gym floor, if you get one word of command wrong, you're in the Ogden straight after the class and you're number one. So if you've got a class straight after that, you've got to get changed straight back into a dry set of kit to go back onto the gym floor. And I mean, if you say sit-ups and put an S on the end of it instead of sit-up, then you're done. You're in the Ogden, and all the lads are doing swimming movements behind all the nods, and you're like, stood there going,
really?
"Oh." Yeah. Stood there, try not to flash in front of 60 nods.
I think as a recruit, you always look at your PTIs, don't you? Like they are like, you just look at them like the gods, don't you?
You can they always used to say you can tell a troop by their PTI. You can tell whose troop that belongs to. They used to say, but I don't know. Most of my troops are pretty rats, and I'm pretty essence. So
it's that physical excellence thing, isn't it? So my PTI was Phil Gilby, obviously RSM, and they were some big guns to Phil.
Yeah, absolute legend of a man.
Yeah. Go on, Gaz. Get us another question, mate.
Yeah. So the next question, guys, is what we got. What are the good parts of RM training to look forward to and enjoy? And that's from Holly Allmark, UK. What are the good parts of training to look forward to and enjoy?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think training was probably one of the best parts of my career, because you were achieving something. Once you know what I mean. I think like training's horrible, and I don't think there's any line about that. It's pretty gopping, and it should be. And I wouldn't say I really enjoyed parts of it, but I enjoyed the becoming. Like, is that your book? Is that in the title of your book, mate? Like, I just enjoyed that whole process of becoming something.
Yeah, mate, I absolutely agree. Like, for me, it's like it was the most horrific part of my life at the time, but like now in reflection and some years on, it's just the best thing, the best period of my life ever. That, because like you said, mate, you're on course to something great, of achieving something, and I don't think that, given our ages and being a young lad, the significance of doing that at that age is absolutely massive. And it's kind of pivotal, really, for everybody, for all young lads' life. It's a bit like for Ben and for me with a book. Although it's a great achievement for me, I can never. The significance of doing that back when I was like 21 is massive, really.
Yeah, I think there'll be people watching this now, like, I want to know like the nitty gritty and the weeks and stuff. And I don't know about you guys, but the moment you move into phase 2 and you ditch that fucking core pattern belt, and you actually feel like a soldier. I remember my corporal saying, "That's it now. You could go to war at the standard you're at," and you're thinking, "Bloody hell, I'm hoofing at like cleaning mess tins in the field." And hoofing at doing kit musters. What does that mean going to war? Because you're doing like an ACMT. But the moment you step out on like those first few tactical exercises, although they're a bit shit, you know, you're not getting like sort of purposely thrashed for the sake of it, which is pretty much what phase one is, isn't it? Like go in the field, do a few things and pretty much get thrashed every exercise. It's like an ultimate fear. But then you move into phase two and like, this is where the corporals actually are really invested in us. They want to see us become actual soldiers, and you begin to feel like a soldier. And yeah, I think for me, like phase two was definitely the point where you're like, I've arrived a little bit here now. It's not.
I think I agree with that. Then, yeah, the first time I saw my corporals sort of fully cammed out, webbing on weapons, they'd made a switch at that week 15 point. They'd gone from being down the stances or, you know, giving weapon lessons, and they'd actually like stepped across the line then, and they were in, you know, they were cammed out, they were patrolling with us. And that does make a real difference, doesn't it?
They're snuggling around with you in like FRVs and, you know, wrecking OPs and stuff like that. And you're like, and the moment you feel the corporal with you doing it, you're thinking, this is like
you start to feel like you start to feel a bit of the family, like you're getting a bit accepted, and it's just a great feeling, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's a great feeling. Is that I think in any kind of job or walk of life that you're in, when you start getting accepted by your peers, I think it starts feeling good. And like you said, after week 15 is when it starts happening. Really, any time up until then is it's just pretty shit.
That's what I used to say to nods as well. I don't know about Matt. I know you took teams through nods through. It's you get to phase two, like you're not meant to enjoy phase one. Phase one's fucking shit. It's like even the corporals think it's shit, but it gets you to a standard that upholds something for when you go on to the next part. And then you go into phase two, and I remember seeing all those nods that just used to rap. I'm like, this is actually ninja. This is actually hard. Actually, being wet and cold is gash. And like, and you always used to harp on about. I remember my corporal was saying it. If you're not enjoying this bit, you don't deserve to be in our brotherhood. When you hear that, and you know you're putting the effort in, you think, yeah, this is what it's all about. It is shit, and everyone fucking crawling around in mud isn't exactly the friendliest thing, but it's got a purpose. It's got a real purpose to it.
I think for any recruit that's going through now, it's just not the core, is it? Like training, especially the first 15 weeks, it's just absolute bullshit, isn't it? Really,
the real core is 32 weeks of Jeremy Carr, isn't it? If that's how it was really done.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I used to find frustrating was someone would put their chit in, a recruiter put his chit in, and he'd say, "What, you know, why?" And he'd say, "Well, this isn't for me. I don't think military's for me." And I'm like, you don't know what the military's like, because this is not how life is. This is recruit training. This is a means to an end to get you from A to B. This is not life in the Corps.
Yeah. I think those first 15 weeks are just all about discipline, aren't they? Teaching you just do as you're told, shut the fuck up, and just polish your fucking your berry pin. That's it. And then obviously once you've actually mastered the sort of art of discipline, which actually is what makes, I think, bootnecks generally a cut above the rest, is the fact that you're disciplined enough to do all those things without being watched later on in life anyway. But it's that first 15 weeks, I know they're rubbish, but I think they really do instill that basic discipline. And I also think that obviously the best part of training, we all know what it is really, lads, is drill. You know, watching your DL launch a pace stick across the I remember we doing King Squad pass out, and you'd go into some sort of formation, and then you go out to a star, and you come into a circle, and all have one lad always end up in the middle of the circle, looking around, going like that with his weapon. I remember, I'm not going to say his name, you probably get in trouble. I remember I just seen this, like some Amazonian man launch this pace stick across the drill square, missed him by about an inch in the head. He's flashing at him, stormed off into the thing 2 days before pass out. Class. I love drill.
That was the thing with Falklands Hall, wasn't it? When you were passing out and you get your green lid, there was always two. There's never one. There's always two knobbers which end up TikToking, don't they? When they get the lid and then they're like, and you're not meant to salute, and then there's always that one who's like, oh shit, I shouldn't have salute.
There's nothing worse.
That instigates a TikTok then, doesn't it?
There's nothing worse. You stood there, aren't you, going, don't TikTok, don't TikTok, don't TikTok, and all of a sudden you've forgotten how to march.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's fully out the window.
Yeah, all that training, and you just make one mistake, and then all of a sudden you just lost all your coordination
in front of everyone. Your whole family, the team, the mentors.
When you're supposed to be looking nails and cool, you look a complete helmet.
Mate, I remember my King squad, someone's magazine fell off, and I reckon every fucking bloke in the troop kicked it. Like, literally, across the drill square. Jesus. Oh, no one tells you about that stuff, do they?
So your mum say, Ben, oh, look, Ben's the only one in step.
Right, next one.
Mate, no, you got to give an acknowledgement here. There's a lot of hair missing on this show this week. We've got Ben's hair. Matt's tash is gone. I've never had any for a start. Gaz, you're covering up. There's a lot of hair missing.
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good at the minute. It's short, but I'm pretty good. I'm just grey.
Gaz, you've got a serious hairline for it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty good, mate.
That's decent.
Say hello, baby. Look at this little one. There
she's here. Look. How's your routine at the minute, mate?
Yeah, all right.
One off.
Yeah, no, she's all right. To be fair, actually, she's pretty chilled.
Yeah, good.
Unlike her mum.
Here we go. Next one.
Hey, come on.
All Arms Commando Course. Is it worth it?
Yes, if you want to work with the Corps and be recognised that you've got half something about you, then yeah, I definitely agree.
And that is from Gravy 267. Sorry, mate.
That's right. Yeah, no. If you want to be, those boys do get pushed hard on the All Arms, and I've taken some All Arms courses through, and they do weed out the rubbish guys. And if you want to work with the Corps, be a part of the Corps as part of brigade, then yeah, I think it's a must.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree. I've been on the All Arms team, and that, like Ben says there, you don't give them any quarter. They still get exactly what a recruit gets, albeit in a slightly more condensed time frame. And like Ben says, I think if you want to be part of brigade, within your own, and we need that support as well, because we can't do everything, and they are a valued part of the Corps. So yeah, absolutely.
Massive respect as well, isn't it? Like some of those guys are sort of 10, 12 years into their careers, and they rock up at Livingston, they're cracking kitmasters on the Silver and Glade and stuff.
I think you can absolutely respect them now, and I do. But when you're fresh and you early in your career, the Corps, it does kind of take in your perspective on it, doesn't it? But I think when you get a bit older, you can really appreciate what they go through. So it is tough, especially like you've said, when they've got jobs and they're having to do it on the weekends and stuff.
When you've worked with them on ops as well, that's when you really get a fair one for putting yourself through training and doing that stuff. But when you see them out there and doing their job, and you're like, they actually feel quite Corps led, don't they? They actually feel part of the Corps, as opposed to just working with the Army, just working with the Navy and the RAF. The RAF. Those guys do feel part of it, don't they?
Yeah.
That kind of ties in with one of the questions I've had, lads, which was thoughts on someone joining the Royal Marines Reserves over the regulars.
Sorry, I got my wires crossed there. Yeah,
and for me, I think again, reservists have their place, and we'd be a little bit stuck at times without them, because they do have other skill sets. Certainly I know in the Afghan era, you've got a lot more guys would have died without the reserves, because all your doctors, your nurses, and people like that, had they not been there, then far more guys would have suffered. But with regards to Royal Marines reservists, they still conduct a lot of the training that we do, and that takes them up to 2 years. So I think the dedication piece possibly is far greater to see it through.
Yeah, I'm in the process of actually rejoining the RMR, but I've been declared temporarily medically unfit, believe it or not. The fact that you can snatch 115 kilos when you broke your wrist 3 years ago is not good enough proof to a doctor that I've still got a hand. But yeah, I kind of agree with you on that. I think that everybody has their place. I feel like you couldn't replace the whole of the Corps with reservists or the whole of the British forces, because I think there's a professionalism to being it's like, if you play football on a Saturday, you're not that good. If you play it every single day, you're going to be better than the person who just plays it on a Saturday. But like you say, the skill sets and a fresh opinion, sometimes when you're doing some stuff, someone from a different walk of life might actually have a different approach to something or a problem or a task.
You boys have all worked with them on ops as well. I remember working with a lad in lockdown who was on 80 grand a year in the city. And I remember asking him, like, what the fuck are you even doing here? And he was like, just to do my bit. And you're like, do you know what? Fair one. Like, you're on 80 grand and you're still here facing the lead wasps and worse than that, the ID presence like everyone else.
Massive respect.
They're insane, but to be honest, I think, like Ben said, it's refreshing, isn't it?
Yeah, and like you said, it's like, I'm sorry I got my wires crossed. It's like when they're rocking up and doing a weekend and going back to work on a Monday when they've had probably thrashed and little sleep and stuff is a massive effort. It's quite unbelievable, really. Yeah, anything from you, Matt? Shall I crack on, mate?
No, go on, mate. Yeah, send us on.
Okay, so this is from Harry 120, and it is: did anything funny happen on any of your commando tests?
I'll tell you, not my commando test, but when I took my first Nod troop through on their 30 mile, I had diarrhea, and I shit myself after the first time. I stopped counting, and I got to the end of it, and I actually saved the pants and auctioned them off at a kit sale.
Fucking hell! How much did they get?
Oh, the lad had to down a pint for him, so that was pretty horrendous. Honestly, I remember I stopped on the first. I got about 5 miles in. I was like, oh, I need a toilet. And I pulled my trousers down, and it must have been about 5 foot behind me. And I was like, oh, this is not going to go well.
Oh, God.
Fucking hell.
It happens.
Oh. It does happen. I think the chasm is where it all happens, isn't it? Like on all Nod tests. If anything's going to go wrong, it's either someone needs a shit on the endurance and they will have a shit on the endurance, or just people just fuck the chasm up. And I remember seeing a couple of lads like completely fuck the net up massively. Superman punch, and they're like going at half cocked, and then it is funny, isn't it? Let's be honest, it is funny seeing someone pinball down the chasm, and then when you see them like their femur sticking out, it's not too funny anymore. It's
not so funny when they fall off and die, like. But
yeah, well, there is that. Health and safety risks, isn't there? But there is amusing moments which happen around that area.
When I was on a training team, and we had a young lad there. He's still in the corps now, so I won't name him, but he was on the endurance course. He was on the way back, and you come across the bridge that goes across the road. Before the endurance course, we'd had a phone call to say that his fiance had gone into labour, and we were like, we don't want to tell him because it's going to affect him mentally, so we left it. It's like an hour and a half. He'll finish endurance course, and we'll get him away soonest. But he jumped off the bridge as he was coming over the road and snapped his tib and fib, completely snapped it in half.
Oh.
So obviously he's there laying on the floor. We called him an ambulance, and we had to sort of say to him while he was there, by the way, your fiance's gone into labour. So he was on the phone in the back of the ambulance, like, I'm on the way to hospital in the ambulance, and she was on the end of the phone. Yeah, I'm on my way to hospital in the ambulance. Never got back for it, but yeah, there we go.
I think there's only one answer there, Gaz. Like, there's nothing funny about the commando test when it goes wrong. People either die or break their femurs, tibias, or everything else.
I think you don't see the funny side of things until you're actually on a training team.
Yeah.
You're so hanging out. Nothing's funny.
No.
You only see the bloke in front as well, don't you? Really.
I think one of the greatest feelings is coming down. They've changed the bridge now, haven't they? They do it at the bottom of the Jurstone now, but coming down and seeing that bridge and going over the bridge and just that relief and that overwhelming sense of joy and pride that just hits you on the end of that, but yeah, not funny wise, they ain't funny.
No, it's not funny, is it? You just absolutely
hanging funny in hindsight, isn't
it? Yeah. I actually lost my eyebrows because of the 30 miler, because there's a lad in our troop that got about 3 miles in and wrapped, and I was like, well, I put my obviouses on it that you'll never pass the 30 miler. He went and did the rerun and Woodbury Common the next day and actually passed it. So I actually got all my King Squad pass out and all my photos. I got no eyebrows.
I tell you what.
Why did he can the main one on Dartmoor?
Well,
the Woodbury one is easier.
I don't know. I just thought he was a rap hand and he was never going to pass it. So I thought my money was
Really?
safe. But obviously the lad absolutely smashed it and I lost my eyebrows.
That Woodbury
hell.
one's another level. Everyone's like, "Oh, Dartmoor's horrendous." Run round Woodbury 3 times. That's where real men are made. Fucking hell. Jesus.
That is the one you don't want to redo, isn't it?
Yeah, on a Saturday as well, isn't it? Usually after the King Squad piss up, so you're just in the wagon, just like.
What's the pass rate on that in terms of percentage? Anybody know?
Most lads get around it.
I would say it's 80, 85, maybe even 90% pass rate, but because by the time they get there, you're a robust human being, aren't you? And it's and genuinely, by the time you got there, if you've made it that far, you've got the mental capacity to
Get around.
Yeah, the 30 miler for me was the worst, and I said this last week, was the worst test. And about 3 times I thought I don't want this anymore.
Mate, I was same. I was exactly the same. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
I didn't even think about 30 miler until I started it. I thought it's in the bag. I just got to just move my body, just move. But then, like after 12 miles, I thought, fucking hell, I'm not even halfway, and I was absolutely hanging. I had nothing left in the tank at all. And last 6 miles, mate, I was absolutely in the hurt locker to the point where I just thought, I'm going to fail this, and I'm not even bothered.
I didn't mind it because I was watching my corporal just fucking really struggle with the nabbing. I was like, he's hanging out there.
My corporal, my other corporal, my 30 miler was a legend. He used to smoke and drink a can of Coke. He didn't eat once. He just had a fag and a can of Coke at every water stop. I was like, who is this man? He was actually my DS on my juniors as well, which was quite cool, actually. He was my DS from, took me as a nod and then took me to be a corporal as well, which was quite cool.
Rollovers for breakfast, that type of guy.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, mental, isn't it? Absolutely mental.
There's not many lads I've seen fail a 30 miler. I've seen lads go down with heat exhaustion quite a lot in the summer. We've put blokes in the river. We've had guys extracted off in the helo through heat. So I think, I don't think it's one of those that you don't get round unless your body stops you.
Yeah.
It's surprising as well. A lot of people underrate the winter ones. Now, I did a few when I was at Linston, and you're moving at a pace, but you're moving at a pace where you can still get cold, can't you? And you do see lads going fucking down, sort of December, January, February time, and you're like, it's quite surprising. I think people just think it's in the bag, don't they? And it's not like some sort of survival thing. You get 10 miles into 30 mile in January and it's ices because your body gets used to it, doesn't it? And you're not so redders anymore. And you started in a shirt and you're like, I wish I didn't start in a fucking shirt.
That's the fucking blame them hours for that.
Or you're sweating, you're overheating.
Start cold, get warm. How about start warm and stay warm?
Yeah, don't be threaders, start redders.
It's
Classic.
Last one kind of from me, guys, is what exercise that stood out for all of us in training?
I think we had this conversation last week, but it was dig X.
Dig X, yeah. I've got 2 really. I think Marshall Star for me were like really, really stood out because it was just horrendous. But that's the case for everybody. And then dig X. Dig X is another one really that kind of forget about all the others. But dig X, I think definitely digging with that entrenching tool but just horrific really. So I said dig X for me, pips it really. Anybody else?
I thought I think I'm 2 as well, and that's only because I'm looking at phase 1, phase 2. Like phase 2 was violent entry. That's where I thought, this is proper soldier and run around Senny Bridge. But Hunter's Moon, I felt like that was where I ditched my civvy wings. I was like, finally, a Marshall Star and all that lot was just a thrashing and a pasting, and it was like, this is shit. But I think the moment you go on the moor and you're on your own, yomping around the moor in your little team, and you do those honking yomps out there, and then you do survival, and then you come back to camp, that's when I think you ditch the civvy skin. It takes I used to tell my nods all the time. It takes around 10 weeks to ditch your civvy skin because you got to go and do Hunter's Moon. You got all those sort of beat up exercises. But yeah, for me, Hunter's Moon was like the one where I was like, I feel like I'm in the military now.
What, after you've done it kind of thing? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, not during it. During it, I was just like, this is fucking Webster's. I want to put my shit in. But afterwards was like, you know, when you've had the Dominoes, it's Saturday morning, everything's clean, and you got that massive sort of endorphin rush. Your face is wind rushed and flushed anyway from the week. You're like, that was actually that's made me who I am. Definitely
yeah, fair enough. Yeah. I think in terms of significance and what you enjoy, I think definitely going into tactical phase of training when you're starting to do all kind of Royal Marines based stuff that you join to do. I think that's when it becomes quite
it wasn't first step.
Definitely not. No.
First step down bottom field. Yeah.
Have you even got a weapon for first step?
No.
You haven't, have you?
You're not even allowed your mess sticks.
Pick elf, isn't it? You do a wandering sentry with a pick elf.
You haven't got a Bergen, have you? You've just got a day.
What are you going to do with that? You're going to batter someone to death.
Helmet is always permanently on sideways. Yeah. There's no way around it. No matter how much you try to straighten it, sideways.
Yeah.
I remember.
You just look a complete sack, don't you?
Mate, yeah, you got comms cord wrapped around your foot. You don't know why you're pulling half the arbor area around.
Yeah.
I'm in the core now.
It's ridiculous.
Are you bored of Daddy's stories already, are you? Yeah, I thought so.
Getting her head down.
Yeah, she's bored of them already, isn't she? I think you're right though in terms of the exercise. And I remember the first exercise. You used to do it just across the water from camp, didn't you? That little wood block. What was that little place called? Rugby Common. It was on the opposite side of the estuary. There was like a private grounds, and I think we did like loads of OPs. And I remember lying there in my Ho Chi Minh trousers, getting bugged out, collapsing the OP, running around in Ho Chi Minh trousers. And I remember one lad fell asleep, stood up, just stopped. And
There's always that bloke, isn't there?
And he just fell over. You're like, how do you? But yeah, I totally agree. I think the second.
They've stopped using that area now. What was it called?
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's on the A38, isn't it? Like, around the.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called now.
Bit, yeah, I know what you mean.
I was going to say Bourton Burrows, but that's section attack week, isn't it? And juniors.
So I think the juniors and seniors classic of lads giving orders, and obviously everyone's fucked, aren't they? Completely fucked. And someone just falls asleep in your model pit. I remember lads constantly just falling face first, and then just be like, and that's the FRV. There's nothing you can do about it. Is there? Everyone's getting their heads down, and you can't.
Even the GS are in that state as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can't even begin to tell anybody that that's actually real. That people do fall asleep stood up until you go to Livingston and see it. It's unbelievable.
When lads just start wandering through the model pit, and you're like, what are you doing? Oh, he's getting his head down.
He's gone.
Wandering around with a bivvy pole.
Holding on to the comms cord, walking around like that.
I remember on my juniors when I was set up model pit, had 2 right angle torches in the model pit, batteries running out. It was absolutely useless. Rain was coming down, and I remember wiping my tams. And as I went like that, I just smeared mud across the tams, and I was like, brilliant. And the DS comes in, he sits down, and I pushed the poncho. It had been raining that hard. It was a massive sag in the poncho, so I pushed the poncho with my pointer, and the water just went straight in the DS's lap. And I was just like, brilliant, that's me. Whale.
Onto you straight away.
There ain't nothing you can do, is there? Like, it's just a shit existence when you're that tired.
Juniors is another level, isn't it? Pork chop wood, patrol X, isn't it? Where you just don't sleep for like 6 days or whatever it is. Fucking hell.
Black. Even in the day, it's pitch black.
Yeah. That's a hideous existence, that wood block.
It is literally. I don't think there's better. I think like the Antarctic in winters had more sunlight than the bloody inside of pork chop wood.
All these guys which like follow us all and ask about like training and stuff. It's like, don't worry about training. This is when you get into pork chop wood on your juniors. That's when you really hit a wall. That's when you question your career.
Yeah, that's do I really want this?
Yeah, put in stores early so I could get a quicker promotion. Wish you didn't do that.
I think we did our juniors like in winter time. We had ice and snow for pork chop wood, and then we had minus, I think it was minus 16 or something like that on our juniors final X. And I remember the insurgent jump was supposed to be like 12 miles, isn't it? But the snow was way steep. Right? The snow was way steep, and the point man fell into like a stream, and we had to catch him back in from the stream, strip him cut naked, put all his dry clothes back on him, and he couldn't operate. He was just stood there shivering like that. So the DS basically cancelled the yomp, yomped us into the woodblock, and it was like I had to cut my spare socks into mittens to go over to my hands because my gloves weren't good enough. I remember yomping up to like Selenia Village, and like the icicles was melting here. Lads were falling down and disappearing down hills because the snow was so deep. That was probably the worst. I actually found some photos of it. It was probably the worst experience of my whole life.
Senny Bridge has got a drainage system, hasn't it?
Yeah.
People underestimate Brecon, don't they? That place is another level when it wants to be.
Yeah, I remember we were out, we just got back from patrol going into this woodblock, and I was hanging out, and this fucking man truck drove past, and some bloke wound the window down about this much. He went, "Hey, mate, the training area has been shut down." And before I could even turn to give him like a fingers up or tell him to piss off the army bastard, he'd wound his window back up and drove off. The only positive from that, though, is Richard Small come back from patrol and saw the DS wagon.
I know Smalley.
He went into the DS wagon and stole 2 chocolate gatos out the back of their wagon and brought them back into the woods and hid them from everybody. And then he got them out after the DS went, and everybody's eating gatos and cigarettes like that in this woodblock.
Ben, was there any part of you when that person wound down that window when it's been, oh mate, it's closed? Because all of us have been there when something similar has happened. You're like, Jen, has it, Jen? Has it, Jen?
I didn't get the opportunity. I didn't get the opportunity. The steam came out, and he'd wound the window back up before I could even say anything.
the bike float just nodding away in the corner, just like, no, it's not Jen. Oh, Steady Bridge, fucking hell.
One of the lads has asked on the live chat on YouTube, how much core history should you know before starting training? I don't think you need to know too much, do you? A few VC winners and a few memorable dates.
I think you should. I probably should remember the 28th of October, 1664. That's a good start. That's about it.
Can you remember any other VC winners, Ben? Can you?
Thomas Peck Hunter.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Ended it.
Hey Siri.
How can I help?
When you used to do your drill inspection, and you know that when you got inspected, you used to get asked a bit of core history, didn't you? 100%. And I always used to remember one thing: why did we have a crown on our cap badge? Is to signify that we're a Royal Regiment. And I was going, please be that question, please. And he asked me something completely different. I was like, I just stood there, I didn't even answer. I think that I was just so flapping my head off. I didn't even answer him.
Used to all go out the window, didn't it, in drill? Maybe 5 VC winners. I can't name you one, to be honest, Corporal. I'll TikTok over to the flank.
I don't think anybody likes drill, do they? Awful.
Nah, it's fucking shit. That's like, everyone doesn't realise, that's the 5th commando test. Fucking King Squad. Because you literally get there, like, 30 mile in about week of drill. A week of drill. You only used to do sort of Saturday mornings up to that point, didn't you? Every week, and now it's like a week of drill. Arms drill as well. That's a whacking the fucking SA8 in your shoulder. That's like the gassiest thing in the world.
Oh
yeah.
Did you ever your belt loops on your blues for your white belt? Did you ever bend that out so it catch your weapon on it? They still do that,
mate. We did that on November ceremonies, mate.
Yeah, but if you miss it, you're fucked because you can't move, can you? And then you're like, I'm in for an hour of pain right now.
Elbow's just going to go sleep.
You know why they do it? There'll be people, listening now. They do it for a reason. If you're listening, drill shit, get used to it, but it's for a reason. That's the thing with the Corps, isn't it? Everything's for a reason. Most times.
Discipline.
Having a chat with Evo, that's for a reason.
If you can't stay on the parade square, then you can't lay still in an OP, can you? I guess that's kind of the transferable skill of it, I guess. Spacings,
formations, all them.
Just listening to orders on command, isn't it?
Yeah, command.
Or executing orders on command.
Still shit though.
Yeah, fucking hell. Drilling the winter's Webster's. You catch your ear with your fucking sight. Oh,
the DLs and the PT. the DLs and the PTIs have always got a natural feud because their offices are opposite each other. And just as I joined the PT branch, all the lads were getting a debriefing some of the other lads because they broke into the drills office and stole all their paste sticks and threw them in the bottom of the tank. But the funny thing is, the DLs tried to retaliate by stealing dice, but they weren't strong enough to take it out of the gym. So they got it halfway out the gym and then wrapped because it was too heavy.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Oh, amazing.
Quality.
Ben, I got a question. It's sent in by someone we know. Do you know Carol?
Yeah.
Swims with you, do you know Carol from Plymouth?
Yeah, I know Carol. Get on, bird.
He's asked me to ask you. Oh, well, I've lost it now. It's not a core question for those of you hanging on to it. Ask Ben, why do CrossFitters do kipping as pull-ups? And he's watching live apparently, so he's probably hung on to this moment to know your answer.
Why do CrossFitters do kipping pull-ups? Do you know what? This is the same guy, and he's actually serving, and he's...
You can't mention his name as well, because he's proper serving as well, isn't he? The long hair serving.
And all the time, he rinses me about kip and pull-ups. I did that live Q&A on Instagram. Do you think kip and pull-ups should be incorporated into Raw Army's training? Well, of fucking course not. On that fucking beam, you're going to have no fucking head left.
Mate, VMs would pass it.
The DLs would be fucking living the dream, wouldn't they? Kip and pull-ups. Woo.
Oh.
RMFA in the bag.
20, done.
No, I don't. Why do CrossFitters do kip and pull-ups? Because unfortunately, it's faster than strict pull-ups. So
there you are. Carol, you can leave YouTube now. He's been hanging on to that bit for the last 40 minutes.
Thank you.
I would argue that kipping pull-ups can be harder though if you don't have rhythm, Ben. Like my rhythm is shocking, mate. I'd rather do strict ones. Obviously, I can't do as many, but
yeah, no, I totally agree. I think that
I agree as well. I'd rather do strict than kipping because I can't nail the technique yet.
Yeah, it's got more CV in a kipping as well.
Yeah, well, lads, obviously you didn't spend enough time on the multicoloured dance floor down at Jester's to build your rhythm up, did you? That's where kip and pull-ups were invented.
Do you remember that chicken Jester's used to dance with a pint on her head?
Yes. Do you know that she had AIDS?
Oh, really?
Oh, like 3 people on this call now have just gone,
Yeah.
Jen. Oh, fuck.
Oh, no.
Did you? I remember the bouncers going.
All right, Jen.
Jen, I'm going to have to log off because I'm
going to have to leave this call a minute. Just
immediate G1.
Well, you can only catch it once. It's cool.
Low puncture. Oh god!
No, but I do remember her. She was amazing, wasn't it? You just put your pint on her head, and she would dance, like spin around, and then you just go back, grab your pint, have another little sip, put it back on her head.
There was I actually had a question come in. Best piss up you've been on, but we could talk all night, couldn't we, about that?
Fucking hell! Who asked that?
If you can identify one, then you've probably not had enough of them. But yeah, wow. You know, med trips, all the trips that we've been on, that is your what's happening at the end. Where are we boozing, isn't it? Are we going to America? Are we going to Vegas? Are we going to San Diego?
Mate, Ben, we were out in Vegas. That was another level, wasn't it?
Mate,
people waking up with syringes hanging out their arms, like, I'll just be all right for fizz, wouldn't it?
Mate, Surrender nightclub in the pool, naked, and the bouncers are chasing me around the pool trying to kick me out, and the lads are like fucking running around with my clothes and my.
Was that you?
Yeah.
I remember watching the whole thing, not realising it was you.
Yeah, I
was spinning that dip the other day going, there was this bloke going, fuck off, because they ain't going to get in the pool after you. Oh, Jen, I didn't realise it was you.
Yeah, Surrender, yeah, that was
my night.
The thing is, you know what I loved about Vegas is that
why were you out there?
We were in 29 Palms.
Black alligator.
Yeah, black alligator doing ranges, which was... Right. It was okay, you know. It wasn't too bad.
9 weeks or whatever it was at fucking Camp Wilson.
In the cage bands.
Mate, I'll tell you what though, San Diego, we were in a nightclub in San Diego. Me and Mikey Collins had got into VIP. Don't ask me how. All the other lads had been kicked out because they were too drunk. and I was talking to these girls in Spanish, and obviously I speak a little bit of Spanish. I was like, hey, ¿qué pasa, chicas? ¿Están bien o no? And I was talking to these girls, and all of a sudden these lads came over and they're all squaring up to me. I'm like, ¿qué? ¿Qué coño haces? Like, saying, what the fuck do you want? What's up? What's up? And me and Mikey Collins just stood there like ready to fight these like Mexican blokes. And this bloke's come over, stop. Guys, let me give you a drink. I was like, yeah, no dramas, mate. He walked over to the bar and went, those guys are cage fighters. They've just come across the border for a fight. And he went, I just saved you guys an ass whooping. I was like, fucking hell, mate. Yeah, thanks for that. Really appreciate it. He goes, what do you guys do? And I went, oh, we're Royal Marine Commandos. He went, I saved those guys an ass whooping. And that was it. I don't even remember the rest of the night. Me and Mikey Collins went out to go and find the gym at 1 o'clock in the afternoon and started drinking triple rum and cokes. And that's the last thing I remember.
Mate, there was a lad in Vegas on our trip, man, who had a pistol pulled on him in a strip club, and he was that shiters. He was like, I'll fucking strip it. I'm going to strip that down for you and show you how to fucking clean it. And I remember speaking to the lad. I can't remember who it was, but he was with him, like, Jen, is this Jen happening? And he was like, go on then, man, show me how to fucking do. And he stripped the whole weapon down, left it on the side. I went, that's how you clean it, clean the barrel like that, clean the strings like that. And then he put it together, I gave it back to him, cocked it, and it was like, crack on, mate. And apparently it was like a Mexican again, or whatever it was. It's just like, man, that's the coolest shit I've seen in a long time. It's like, just some pissed up lad who's just done his skillet arms. Yeah, that's how you do it.
Mate, honestly,
marksmanship principles.
Honestly, mate, I remember Virginia Gauntlet, the rugby trip, Ralph Lauren's bar on the harbour in New York, mate, or Washington, DC, I think it is, on the harbour. All the yuppies, right, in their jumpers folded over, Ralph Lauren's coming off their £1 million yachts. And there was a rule, if Sexy and I Know It came on, you had to get naked. And that came on, mate. Fucking all of us got naked. Bar was shut down, police outside, pistols drawn, and we're like, whoa, I think there's been some misunderstanding here. Let's stop this right now.
Royal Marines.
Honestly, mate.
Don't always get it, do they, Yanks? Don't always get it.
Mate, I remember getting into Bellagio VIP, and I was with Ross Brady, who's outside now. And do you remember, Ben, when we went to Vegas, they were like, no blues? And then everyone saw like the seniors and the officers cutting around in their uniform, mess dress. And we were with Sean Paul, of all people. We were Sean Paul in this VIP booth. Like, I mean, we were fucked. We're like, fucking come on, Sean, we're fucking being all royally with Sean. And then the CO came up to the side of the VIP booth and like, all right, lads, like must have just pinged with bootnecks. And Ross Brady just saw him in mess dress and went, fuck off, you God, like across the grid. And I was like, oh, mate, we're gonna. Why did you do that? And he's like, and he just looked at me and went, we're gonna catch it up tomorrow. And we're like, yeah. And mate, we did catch it up.
Do you remember that? Do you remember that video of Ross Brady coming out of that strip club about?
Reference Las Vegas.
Yeah, about 7 o'clock in the afternoon.
I still watch it now. I'm gonna put it on the group later. I was genuinely.
And he's sick, and this green bile comes out. It looks like acid. But
it's one of the. There goes that duty lady. I'm back in.
He does what?
He's just shouting. He throws up. And I'll send you the video, guys. He's literally like throws up everywhere, and he was like, I'm feeling brand new. I'm fit for further tasking. It can't even make sense. And he's like, I'm back in. And then he just looks away and looks at the camera and goes, I'll see it the real. Mate, it went viral on YouTube. Brilliant.
Did it?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I saw Ross 2 days ago, actually.
Oh yeah, he's back over it now, isn't he?
Yeah.
I did the 30 mile of him yesterday for shit. Last year for shits and gigs. Great lad, Ross. Unbelievable.
You know, Junior got a heart problem from that 30 miler.
Yeah. He was in a fucking locker when we like 3/4 of the way in.
Yeah.
Wow. I tell you a question that I've had before, lads, which kind of ties in with what we've been talking about now, and it's like, what is a drinking culture like in the core now? Probably your best place to answer this, Matt, or maybe you, Ben.
It was
changed, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's changed. But when I was in, especially the PT branch, let's just say I stopped drinking for a few years because it wasn't agreeing with me, and for whatever reason, and it was a hard place not to booze, because it used to be. I remember when I passed out of training, I think the first night I went there, I was ashore with some bloke called Ichi the Killer, who shit on a burger van, threw it at everybody, and then I woke up with him sat in my bed drinking shower gel, asking me if I'm okay on my first night in the Corps. And then we were out again with those same people the next night, and I was like, all right, this is normal.
W01 now.
Yeah, I think it has changed definitely, and you'll see that. So I quite often will go to use a climbing wall on a Sunday morning at Bickley, and 20 years ago you wouldn't have seen a soul in and around on a Sunday morning. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's still ashore or shiters or whatever.
Yeah.
Now you go in the gym on the Sunday morning and it's full of lads, and that really is a sign of the times. Lads are.
Do you think that is a sign of the times? Has there been a specific shift in the Corps that's made it go that way, or is it just a generational thing?
No, I think it's more generational. So lads now, we used to go out, didn't we? 5 mornings a week and run a 4 or 5 mile or whatever around the lanes. But lads now, they want to do the functional fitness. They want to do the strength and conditioning, and that's what they do. They're already doing that when they come in, sort of thing. So you'll see a lot of lads who will go in the gym and they'll be doing CrossFit and things like that, and they're into that. They'll also go up the grots and they'll cook decent food for themselves. You know, like we used to go and have an omelette, didn't we, or tank traps down the galley, you know, at lunchtime. Lads won't do that anymore. Lads will cook in their grots. They'll cook, you know, spinach and broccoli and chicken and, you know, just decent scram that they've gone to Tesco's on Monday night. Yeah. So I think as much as, you know, everyone likes to booze, don't they? You know, lads still booze in the Corps, but I certainly don't think you've got the booze until 6 a.m, fall asleep in the corridor, get up for a 4 miler at 8:30, guys. So
when you run ashore rig,
they're a thing of the past, I think. Yeah, to a certain.
What's your boys' views on that? Because I look at that now and think that's a really healthy place for the Corps, isn't it? Like, lads are healthier, fitter, which means they're probably smarter, they're stronger, they're more resilient. You know, all these things that we probably ask from a nod, to be that robust, strong bootneck who can keep scrapping. But there's another arm to it, isn't there? Where that, it sounds so Chad, but it's true. You make your closest offos when you're ashore, don't you? And it's either Afghan or down Guz scrapping somewhere ridiculous. It's not all about scrapping, but it is that sort of unique bond that we kind of share. And it's strange, isn't it? It's like a 50-50 trade-off, isn't it? It's like,
I was just going to say that it's like
strong, but also
it's like a 6 and 2 threes, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm gonna put this out there. If you cannot go to Jester's and then hit Clipper till 7 o'clock, get a taxi back to Bickers, pass a 1.5 mile fitness test with some pull-ups and presser, you ain't a real bootneck. That's what I was told.
No one wanted to say that this evening, but you've said it for us all.
I'm a PTI mate. I'm PTI mate. If you can't boost till 6 o'clock in the morning, get a taxi back. The lads waiting on company lines with your fizz kit. That's what used to happen to me when I get back there, and still go and smash the fizz. You weren't a real bootneck.
But Ben, the caveat is, mate, that you always want that to be somebody else and not you.
Yeah.
Don't you?
Does anyone know Shoes? Do they? Ross Rackham, do you know Shoes?
I know Ross Rackham,
yeah.
You know how he got the nickname Shoes?
No.
So he was coming in from ashore and the lads were coming out the gate on a run and he just about turned and cracked it in his run ashore shoes.
Fucking fair one.
We got his nickname.
I bet they were some old school bootlegs as well.
And some winkle pickers.
With
kickers.
Yeah, with a massive heel on them.
Yeah. Is that the difference though? I know this sounds... Is that the difference between a Marine and a bootneck though? A Marine's a really fit, strong person who can crack on, but a bootneck's that guy down Guz who gets shot, can get back at 6 a.m. He can enlarge his heart. He's okay with enlarging his heart on a troop run, but he cracks it anyway. I think that's what made the culture for a lot of us. Definitely when we were all in.
A Marine's a professional soldier. A bootneck is a functional alcoholic that can still do fizz.
He can still soldier.
Yeah.
I remember going just before Afghan. He's still in. I'll only say his nickname, Damo. You know Damo, Ben, don't you? And we got like shiters on a Sunday, but like Damo took the piss and then
where's this, mate?
At 4-2, just before we went to Thetford for pre-deployment, and Damo rocked up at 4 a.m. literally like to pack his black grip shiters after like a karaoke night where there's like 5 people ashore in Plymouth anyway, and he must
On a
have
Wednesday or
like
something like that.
No, Sunday. We were deploying on the Monday.
Sorry. Yeah.
Sunday, packed his black grip as he thought, and then his Bergen, and then just got his head down, and then put his grip on the wagon, got weapons out, all that stuff. Ended up in Thetford like hours later. He's in the locker, and it's like Afghan series. So you like occupy fob, you got your black grip, you got your Bergen, all that stuff. Jen, he didn't have half the kit he needed. He pulled out one trainer. For some reason, he had one trainer. He's missing his slug, so he had to get a slug off store. Honestly, he had an absolute shocker, but went down a hero.
Yeah, you do, generally you do, don't you?
Yeah.
There's a lad called Ducky Mallard that used to pack a run ashore rig in his Bergen when we were on exercise, and he used to call a taxi to special RVs that would pick him up and take him into Exeter for a night out, and he'd wander back into the harbour in the morning in his going out shirt and then get changed into rig ready for the exercise.
Really?
Someone asked that question about half an hour ago, and then literally we've done like, what's training like? What's this phase like? What's this like? What's your best run ashore? Half an hour later. We're still knee deep in dits.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Well, then get us back on track. Then thoughts on YOs 8 (18). Are they too young, even if selected? I think we need to tread carefully on this one, don't we?
Yeah, probably. They're well. Let's face it. As far as officers go, the Royal produces the best officers. They're trained in the same location. They have the same hardship shared as us. There is no pedestal in terms. There is a little bit of a pedestal because they're an officer, but because they train at the same place and they do the same physical tests and they do harder tests than the recruits. For me, I think that is the key difference between the Royal Marines and a lot of other establishments. Because if you've ever gone to Sandhurst, and I've been to Sandhurst for military pass out, it's very elitism. And I think in the army, it's a big divide between the ranks. Where I feel like in the Corps, the officers are. Don't get me wrong, they're not all great. Some of them are idiots, and some bootnecks are idiots. But
yeah.
I think that ability to have them both in the same location is key.
One of the biggest core values. I was just thinking about age then. Like obviously, one of the biggest core values is humility, and the ability to be humble if you can. And I think the young 18, if you pass commando training as an officer, that's hoofing. That's like a real good effort. What you're going to be a young officer passed out as a bootneck at like 19ish, and then you're going to go off and command lads. And I think the biggest thing, and if people are listening who ask, I was about to ask that question as well because I got sent that, is don't go to a unit and think you're all that just because you've done that extended commando training. You're better than everyone else. You're still a fucking 19-year-old. That's the way it is. And we had someone rock up in Afghan as a young lad, and he thought he was hoofing. And you're like, you're a fucking BCR. You got to get to know the lads. Matt, you would have seen this most out of us all. Is like being a striker, gripping the young boss who comes in. He's like, right, let's do trading packages until the fucking sun sets. And you're like, you're a cunt. You're gonna get banged out. It's if you can rock up and do. I've done the extended training. I've done the hardest tests. But you guys are still being in the Corps longer than me. Whether you've been in the Corps 3 weeks longer than me or 10 years longer than me, I'm still going to listen to you. I think that's what makes the best bosses.
Yeah,
you're going to
be a fantastic leader, and you're going to have the backing from the lads.
Yeah, shut up and listen.
Yeah, absolutely. If you can carry that humility forward, which I think is probably should come naturally, really, because I can't think of anything worse than passing training like these YOs and coming into a troop that you've got like lads that have done Afghan, Iraq, and senior guys, and you've got to start telling them what to do. It's just such a daunting thing for me to kind of comprehend.
I say it is daunting. I think I say shut up and listen. I mean that in a way of shut up, listen, and then be able to execute.
Yeah.
Execute and judge in the right way rather than like it's my plan or the highway. The best bosses I've ever seen have come in, they've listened with 2 ears and they've got one mouth, and then they take it all in and go, that's what I need to do.
Yes.
Win the respect and also take forward the action. The worst ones are just like, we're doing this. And
rather than saying, I'm an officer and this is how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, completely agree.
I don't think age matters. If you have that value, you'll be fine.
I don't think age matters. I think if you're ready, you're ready. Age is insignificant, really.
Absolutely. And part of the problem with Afghan was the YOs would pass out kind of Christmas time, and that would be halfway through the tour. So they would come out, and the troop commander would change over halfway through the tour. Lads have been scrapping for 3 months, and now you've got a guy who's straight out of the training. But absolutely agree that, you might have had that extra training, you might have done a little bit more. The commando tests are slightly harder for an officer, but you still got to have that humility, and that goes for every level, not just for officers. But I had 2 troop commanders when I was a troop sergeant at 40, and they were both great, and purely because they listened, they sat back and saw what the lads were doing, and they listened to what the lads were saying, and they took it from there, and they they nailed it. And that is what you got to do, like you say. Yeah.
I think personally a lot of success for a lot of young officers is the strength of the stripey. And if you've got a kind of useless stripey who doesn't really care, sometimes the boss can then run away with his ideas.
Establish his presence.
Yeah. And I think that's one thing advice that I would give to a young officer as you're passing out is listen to your stripeys and your corporals, because between those guys is a world of experience and knowledge that you could really learn off and utilize.
It's a great point, mate. It's a great point.
Yeah,
they're the real leaders, isn't they, of a troop, the stripey. Yeah, the boss goes up front and sort of does what he wants, but the real boss is at the back, isn't he?
Yeah, the boss is like the fly half, but the real leader's the 7, isn't he? The outside, the open side flanker who put his head anywhere for anybody. You know what I mean?
But also, you shouldn't lose that as well. With time, because I remember on Herrick 9, we were doing an op. I was a corporal at the time in Recce Troop, and the CO came up to me and he knew me by name because he was a Hooford CO, and he said to me, "Corporal Hoey, what do you think I should do here?" And I gave him my opinion. He didn't go with it. But he listened. Do you know what I mean? He asked me and he listened to what I had to say, and then he made his decision from there. But yeah, so even at that level, he went on to be CGRM. So even at his level, he was still asking his subordinates and people below what their opinion was. So
I think there's probably a confidence thing in that as well. When you think about it, it's like having the confidence in yourself to think, you know what, I don't know all the answers here, rather than having a bit of a lack of confidence, self-confidence in a sense, and going into that environment and thinking I need to make a bit of lack of experience as well, really. I need to make an impression here. And just getting it wrong.
Situation, you're going to get lads killed. Yeah? So you need to. You need that.
I like what you say there, Matt, as well, because one of the best bosses I worked with in Lima was just what was on Herrick. Every set of orders, any company ops, you'd have like 50 guys stood around the model pit, and he would go round one by one and point at you directly to your chest and go, and he'd say your first name, and there was none of that sort of Williams, Thompson, and whatever. It's always Ben, next one, and he'd look you straight in the eyes, and he was genuinely looking for your feedback. I think that compound on the left, I don't know, I'm not sure. And even where you're 6 months out of the box or 10 years, most experienced corporal down to the most junior Marine, he would listen. And even someone would say something, it wasn't a debate, but it was, yeah, I can see your point. He could either come back and answer it and say, this is why we're doing it, or actually fucking valid point. You've raised something that I missed there, and have the integrity to say it as well. They are the best bosses. Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely, because no matter how much you know or you think you know, like a fresh set of eyes and a different perspective is always going to bring a different thought in.
They know you're stood on the door as well. That always, real bosses know that you're stood on the door and they're not stood on the door. They're sort of a section behind, aren't they? They'll listen. If a real boss listens to the lads who are going to be stood on the door, that's when you know you've got a real boss. But can still command it. You're going in through the doorway, whether you like it or not. But you, well, what's your opinion? I don't go through a doorway. You go through the doorway.
Can we try the back door, maybe?
Can we not drop a J down? Nah. Cost less.
Final question to wrap up from then. I can't think who this would have come from. Is why is Ben so good looking?
Well, I've worked for years on this. I've been doing ice baths.
Mate, have we got a second name on that, mate?
What you do know? We can see who writes these questions. Yeah,
that's why I wrote it. Woods.
You
Lads,
wearing
it's been
strike
hoofing.
ready, Matt? Are you
I am, yeah. Repping. Drills.
Well, I've got our reps. So I've got the Fizz troop, young lads in the core, still serving, do a little bit of stuff on
Love
Instagram.
it.
So
Oh, nice.
Factory,
yeah, check them out, guys. Check them
Gaz
out.
is
What you
dressed in
wearing?
all his garments.
I am, mate. Yes, 0.1.
Nice. Okay, that brings us on to then Ben, Pantheon, when's it open? 12th?
12th of April.
Hoofing.
Can't
Open
wait.
Awesome,
indoors,
mate.
or is that
Awesome.
one-on-one, or outdoors, or?
That will be gym open, no classes and no jiu-jitsu. Classes will be May and then jiu-jitsu will be June. So looking forward to that.
Awesome,
coming
mate.
down, mate, and seeing it.
Yeah,
Yes.
we come down. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to do one of these live from the gym
Yes,
Yeah.
I've got a.
You know what? That's a great shout, mate.
with the big mural behind us. Have you seen the mural? Did we see that on Instagram?
Yeah, I saw it.
Um,
I've got a.
It's about
One of the lads who works on
25
my
foot.
team is a videographer who does all like our social stuff. So when you guys are ready and we can actually link up, we'll get 2 sofas, sit 2 opposite each other, and he'll film it from different angles, and then we can post it if you boys are up for that. It'll cost us
Yeah,
nothing.
mate.
Yes, we need to get some guests in, some fresh.
Absolutely. That sounds great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really good.
I'll speak to him tomorrow about it.
Yeah. Wicked.
Awesome.
Can you see that, boys? Can you?
Yeah, I can, mate. Yeah. It's wicked, mate.
So you got the gods up on there, and you got this god here with a beautiful mullet. Can you see that?
Oh, there he is. Look.
Yeah.
There he is. That's your shampoo modelling foot, isn't it?
That's my. There he is. Look at that. The mullet will live forever.
He's got a better jawline.
Book, Ben, how's that going? All good?
Yeah, good. It seems to be picking up pace as well, which I was quite
Good,
surprised by. So it's good to
Great
see
read,
a lot
yeah.
of people getting in contact, saying how much it's helped them, and quite deep stories. People getting in contact as well, which is quite surprising and nice to hear. So it's nice to know the commander mindset goes further than just those in the core.
In the military, yeah.
Yeah, and the real humbling thing is the amount of lads which are getting in touch saying, "Jen, I've actually worked out who I am by reading your book," and I think.
Amazing.
Maybe putting your mental health on paper is okay sometimes because other people get it. So, yeah.
I must admit, mate, I'm not fully through yet. I'm 3/4 of the way through, but I think what you've talked about in there and your authenticity and your originality is unbelievable, mate. I think it's really, really
mate.
good. It's unbelievable, mate. It makes it more unbelievable knowing you, really, mate. So if anybody's watching, just jump out and get it. Yeah, it's really good.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
Your book, Gaz, coming on well.
Yeah, really good, mate. Got signed off last week, so it's just with a lawyer now, just making sure that there's going to be no like legal ramifications from anything, but it should be cool. And then front cover reveal soon, and then I think the publication is the 12th of July. So I'm just going to hopefully land well with COVID getting lifted, which I think will be good.
Yeah.
Which would be a good timing, really. So yeah, I'm quite happy that it got delayed a bit.
You can actually buy in the shops.
Yes, mate. Yeah, that'll be good. Yeah.
What's next for you, Matt?
For me, just hoping that we can get back out again after lockdown, get some climbing up and running, get some guiding on the go. Just being out, enjoying Dartmoor with other people and getting other people out. You know, that's what I love. I love taking people and
yeah. What's your company again, Matt? That you
Inaccessible Solutions. Yeah, me and Simo started off as just sort of kids climbing on Sheep's Tour, and it's kind of developed from there. Really, we do all sorts now, but just showing people what's out there really, and the amount of I get a lot of satisfaction from just seeing people enjoy themselves. You know, we take them on a climb, or they get to the top and they're halfway up and they're absolutely shit themselves, and they get to the top and they're buzzing. You know, and that's real.
Mate, like I'll speak to you anyway, but when this all lifts, I'll try and send a load of corporate clients your way, because there's loads of people chomping at the bit for this stuff now. Yeah. And but there's such a thing in climbing personally that I think gets missed, where you know you get someone to do an abseil or a rundown or just a climb and they're like buzzing, or they go through the big thing is going through the fear and actually doing it and then landing and then crack on. Like for me, there's so much missed in that. Yeah, crack on, fella. Yeah, it should be like, look what you fucking achieved, right? Do you see what you achieved? You managed to get to your comfort zone. You jump through fear, and now what are you learning about yourself? Right, go do it 3 more times. You're going to learn a lot about yourself. that's what gets missed. And there's all these climbing companies out there which do this type of stuff, which are like, yeah, jump down the wall, that's you like fearless. And it's like, no, go and tell them why they're fearless.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go and reiterate the point. So man, I look forward to getting involved with you guys when this all lifts.
Yeah.
Massively.
Well, it's just gonna be nice to get out, isn't it? We've been tied up now and locked up for so long. It's just great to enjoy the outdoors again.
I've been on Sentry for 4 months straight, isn't it?
It's
shit, isn't it?
Been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
Look forward to doing it again.
Yeah, look forward to the next one, lads. Cheers for your time, guys.
Yeah, likewise, guys. Have a good evening.
Love to the little one as well, Ben. Stay safe.
Yeah, say that,
Sweet
boys.
dreams,
Have a
Aaron.
good one. Bye-bye.
Cheers, boys.